Yo, it's your boy WesTheTech here to bring you another one of my personal favorite tech tips to help you as an artist grow in your craft. Now, today we're going to go over 3 things that Russ didn't mention when it comes to building home studios, all right? So, before I continue, I want you guys to watch this clip.
You need to get an in-home studio because the fact that people are still paying for studio time in 2020 is insane to me.
What's the cheapest I could pay for good quality?
Let's say this though. Let's say you're paying $100 an hour, right?
All right.
After 30 hours, which is not that much studio time. Let's call it 30 1-hour sessions. You feel me? You've already spent money that could have got you the same studio setup that I had at my boy's house that I did my whole career on.
How much did it cost?
Probably $2,500, $3,000.
And what did you record on that $2,500 equipment? Where did it take you?
So that was, and just to like be fully transparent, that was the Baby Bottle Blue mic, which was like $500, $600. Apogee Duet audio interface was like $500. Excuse me, because that's, what is that? $1,100. What's it called? Speakers. Honestly, you don't even need speakers. I be recording in my hotel rooms with just the headphones. You feel me? And then a MacBook. So $1,500, whatever that is. So you're looking at roughly $2,500 to $3,500, give or take.
Now, this is one of the first times that I have done a video like this. You know, I typically stay out of what other people say when it comes to, you know, industry tips or just tips overall when it comes to being an independent artist. But I felt like I really had to actually do a video on this in particular because I feel like there's some very important things that Russ did not mention in the clip that you just saw, right? Now, before I continue, I definitely want to let you guys know about my free music business checklist that's available on my website to download right now. This is for any one of you guys who's looking into starting your own music business and don't quite know where to start. With this free tool, you'll actually be able to identify 3 things that you could do right away to start your own music business, all right? So if you want to look into that, definitely grab that. I'll also leave the link in the description below, all right? So when it comes to building a home studio, everything that Russ said is factual, right? When it comes to actually physically building it, you're going to need a computer, you're going to need an interface, you're going to need a good microphone, and you're going to need speakers. That's all that you really need when it comes to the physical side of building a home studio. But where I take issue with this clip is that I feel like he's not telling you the whole truth, because those aren't the only things that you ultimately need, all right? In this video, I'm going to go over the 3 things that he failed to mention that you absolutely have to know before you make the decision to go buy the things that he bought or things that are similar to build your own studio, all right? So the first thing that Russ did not mention in that clip, and by the way, big shout out to $1 Million Worth of Game and that podcast and the interview and everything like that. They do great work, but we have to address this here, right? So the first thing that he did not mention is the actual DAW that you're going to be recording on, all right? Everything that he mentioned is the physical stuff, but what about the software related stuff? What is the DAW that you're going to be recording on? Whether it's Pro Tools, whether it's Logic, whether it's Fruity Loops, whatever DAW that you're using to record on actually matters, because different DAWs also have different qualities and different things that you could add onto it to get the quality that you're looking for to have a professional song done, right? Now, this is something that you actually have to account for as well into the budgeting. Logic is $300-$400. Pro Tools, if you were to buy it outright, is $200-$300, right? All of these different professional recording softwares is $200-$300 at minimum. Now, some of them you can purchase a subscription for them. That way you don't have to pay the full price for them. But if you're paying it every month as a subscription for the rest of your music career, then you'll end up spending a lot more in that case, all right? So the first thing, again, that you also have to keep in mind is the DAW. Now, I know some of you guys may be thinking, well, there's free recording softwares out there like Audacity and stuff like that. Those are not going to give you the quality that you need when it comes to recording an actual professional song. When it comes to actually recording a competitive song, a song that's going to match the quality of industry music out there, which is the goal if you want to be taken seriously as an independent artist, all right? So, again, the first thing that you have to consider is, that you have to also consider that Russ failed to mention is the DAW, right? Now, the second thing that he also didn't mention that is even more important than the DAW is the plugins, right? The plugins is really what makes or break the difference between a professional record and an underground unprofessional record. A professional record versus a SoundCloud record. The plugins that you actually use to mix and master the actual music. The plugins is the most expensive part about building any recording studio. Anybody who owns a recording studio or a home studio will tell you this. This is something that is the reality. The plugins alone can cost $5,000 to $10,000 depending on what plugins you decide to have. I'll just give you one simple practical example. Auto-Tune, right? Auto-Tune does not come standard with any DAW. Whether you get Pro Tools, Logic, it doesn't matter what you get. Auto-Tune does not come standard, right? One of the best Auto-Tune plugins out there is made by Antares, right? With Antares, if you wanted to pay it outright, you're going to be spending anywhere from $200 to $300 depending on which package that you actually get. Now, of course, with Antares as well, you could pay for it on a monthly subscription as well. But the actual cost overall just to have it and not have to pay for it again, you're looking at another additional $200 or $300 just for the auto-tune. Just if you're an artist who wants to use auto-tune on your song, you would have to get that one plugin. I'm not talking about everything else. I'm literally talking about that one plugin alone. I as the owner of a recording studio have to regularly buy plugins because plugins get upgraded, newer plugins come into play that create different sounds and all of those different things. So plugins is a never-ending cycle of purchases between plugins, templates, presets, all of those things. These are things that you have to buy to get certain sounds that you're looking for, to get certain elements in your song so that your song overall can compete with other artists' music on a professional level. All right. This is so important to consider when it comes to building a home studio that I also feel like Russ failed to mention. All right. And the third and final part, the most important, the biggest aspect of this all together that I feel like Russ didn't mention and he kind of glossed over is the experience. No matter what type of amount of income that you have, or no matter what type of money that you could put into actually building a home studio, if you don't have the experience, you will not have a great product, right? That's like the equivalent of buying every possible tool that you could think of to make dope cars, right? To make Need for Speed cars, for example, right? You buy the workshop, you buy all the tools, you do all of this stuff, and you get every possible tool that you possibly need. But you don't have the experience on how to actually build the vehicle the way that you need to build it. You don't have the years of experience that a mechanic has. This is not something that you can just get or purchase, right? This is why mixing and mastering engineers have a job and a career. This is why professional artists have other people mix and master their records and pay other people to do it because even though they have the money to get everything themselves, they do not have the years of experience. This is something that Russ failed to mention. Now, he did mention in that clip that him and his boy built a studio and that's how he was creating music. But what he didn't mention is how much experience his boy had. We don't know how much experience his boy had. Maybe his boy had a lot of experience already going into it, and that was able to help him get his music to the place that he wanted it to get to. Now, I'm going to share one more clip from the very same interview that he spoke on moments later. And here it is.
Yeah. But you sold 16 million singles off of recording on a $2,500 setup recording?
In an unfinished basement where you got to wait for the pipes to stop running to record in between. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, And for a while, the sucked. I'll be the first. I always tell people, like, my first, like, I put out 11 mixtapes, trash. Like, the first 8, trash. Just quality-wise, they weren't there. And it's like, you know, when I go look back, I'm like, okay, I can see why this didn't work.
Right.
This was not hard.
Right.
But at the time, I thought it was hard. And you need that delusional stain of self-confidence. But, you know, once the music got to a place where it could compete, at that point, my approach was off.
Now, if you pay attention to that clip, it's very, very revealing, because in that clip, he is blunt honest about where his quality of the music was when he first started compared to where he got to at some point. He said he was 11 mixtapes in, and it wasn't until that point that he actually started making music that could compete, right? That took time to develop the experience that I am telling you guys about. So he kind of told on himself here, because he's saying that all you need is this, but yet he's also admitting that it took him some time to get it all figured out, right? This is why I'm telling you guys that besides the hardware, you have to factor in the experience. The experience is the biggest part of why artists go to recording studios in the first place. They don't go there because of the equipment. They could afford all of that equipment. They go there because they don't have the experience to record themselves. Heck, Russ wasn't even recording himself. Somebody else was recording with him, probably pressing the button, probably figuring out all the engineering stuff while he was recording. He didn't do it all himself. So I don't want you guys to get in the mindset of thinking that this all can be done by yourself right away, right? For me personally, the level that I'm at with mixing and mastering, it took me about 6 years to figure it all out, right? YouTube University was a big help, but it took me a while to get it all figured out. No different than a friend of mine who actually went to a university to learn how to do all of this stuff. It took him 4 years. He had to go to school and get a bachelor's degree in music engineering. That's the experience. That's something that cannot be bought. That's the only thing that cannot be bought. Sure, you could buy Pro Tools. Sure, you could buy every plugin that's known to man, but you can't buy the experience. And that's what you will get in a recording studio. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm against building home studios. Obviously, building home studios is a great thing. It is something that I do believe independent artists should look into and should do at some point in their career. But you have to factor in all of those different things as well. Don't just look at the equipment and say, okay, I buy the equipment, now I'm going to make music like Russ. No, there's also other things that you have to factor in as well, including that experience. It's going to take some time for you to get to where you need to get to, and that's something that you have to factor in. Let's say you're 16 years old and you're starting to make music and you get your parents to buy that equipment for you. If it takes you 6 years to figure out how to mix and master yourself, well, guess what? You're still only 22, right? You're still young enough for the music industry, so to speak. But let's say you start making music at 28 years old. You're going to spend 6 to 7 years of your life learning how to mix and master. By the time you get it figured out, you're going to be in your late 30s, starting by your late 30s, putting out professional sounding music. Russ said it himself. His quality wasn't there. It took him a long time to get his music to where it needed to be quality-wise. He said to get it to be able to compete, to get it at a competitive level. That means that regardless of the equipment that was got, it still took time to perfect the craft. These are things that you have to understand when it comes to building a home studio. Now, if you believe you can do it, I believe in you as well. It's something that can be done. I know plenty of artists who have home studios right now. You know, they took the time to figure out everything. They did YouTube University. They was on their grind, and they figured out how to at least mix, and they paid somebody to master. I know others who mix and master and record and do it all themselves. It is possible. I don't want you guys to think that it's not possible. But what I also don't want you guys to think is that you could just buy the pieces of equipment that Russ told you, and all of a sudden you can make quality music like everybody else. That is not the case. There are other things that you need to factor into it, all right? But that's pretty much it, guys. That's what this video really was about. Really just just debunking the whole ideal of just buying those pieces of equipment and then you're good to go. That's not the reality. There's so much more into building a home studio than what looks like when it comes to the equipment. And I just want to make sure that you guys are factoring that into that stuff before you guys make the decision to actually create your own home studio. And I didn't even mention what you need for the room. Lord have mercy. I didn't even mention that. That should have been the fourth one, honestly. Like whether you're going to get an eyeball or a Kiotica eyeball, or you got to get some type of padding to cover the mic, because your room is going to have AC and sound. If you want to build a booth, that's even more. You get what I'm saying? He didn't even mention that. I completely forgot about that. But yeah, that would essentially be the fourth thing he didn't mention, the actual soundproofing of the mic, because most mics don't have their own soundproofing. You have to get something additional to get the soundproofing so that you get all that outside noise out. All right, guys? But again, all this video is really focusing on is letting you guys know the things that you also have to keep in mind outside of what Russ mentioned. Now, I don't have anything against Russ. I think he's a phenomenal artist. I think, you know, he makes great music and all of those different things. I just feel like that there's certain things that he forgot to mention when it comes to actually building a home studio. All right, guys? But let me know what you guys think about this video. Let me know what you guys also think about this video format, because I don't typically do videos like this. If you want to see more videos like this, leave comments in the comment section below, or whatever the case may be, because like I said, I'm here to help you guys out as independent artists. And also, if you're looking into leaving your 9-to-5 job and doing music full-time like myself, I strongly urge you to grab this ebook here, the 13 steps to jumpstart your music business, because with this ebook, it'll basically show you the same steps that I took to put myself in a position to leave my 9-to-5 job so that I could do music full-time. And I believe everybody is able and capable of doing that as well. You just got to know the way to do it, and this ebook will absolutely show you the way to do that. All right, guys? But that's pretty much it, guys. I hope this video helped with your reasoning when it comes to building a home studio, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.
I feel like Moses, big Moses. Yeah. Can nobody hold me? Yeah. Yeah. I'm feeling like Daniel, big daddy. Yeah. Can nobody face me? Yeah. I feel like Joseph, big Joseph. Yeah. Can nobody break